have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning. It is Reality Rants. I am Jason Bermas. This is RedVoiceMedia.com. And so far, the humans are at least winning in the court system here in the United States. Who knows for how long, especially when we see how corrupt the injustice system is. I'm going to show you some really big examples of incrementalization. The step by step acceptance of some of the most heinous practices. And really, it's not just practices out there. You know, there's a reason our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, has been eviscerated over time to where right now it's simply unrecognizable. Do we really have a constitutional republic? Do we really have a system of checks and balances? I would argue no. In fact, if you're a premium member or you follow me over on Twitter and you're checking out some of the clips, I had a great conversation with Drew Berquist, one of the driving forces behind Red Voice Media. His past career in intelligence, in the agency, in the Central Intelligence Agency, media networks, the overall state of the country, and, you know, where the accountability is. And it's not there. It's not there. And at the same time, you know, I don't want to be too much of a negative Nancy. I hate the term, quote unquote, black. He's real black pilling. Jason Bermas black pilling away. No, I don't like it. It's not my favorite. I do have some hope that somehow, some way, we are going to get some of the truth out there enough that we can at least fight the system for a free humanity somewhere. We have to be the free humanity. And if you noticed, I kind of shifted for a while there, especially during the COVID 1984 nightmare, to where when I was doing interviews, right when the hate and lies, shiggity shots were just roaming around and all over the place and you couldn't get around them, just bombarded with that stuff, I said, look, it's time to stay human. That's your best bet. It's time to stay human. And all of this encompasses subject matter such as artificial intelligence, right? Nanotech, narrative control, social media companies, all encompassing, really. The entertainment industry, which is all encompassed and intertwined with everything I just said. Social media companies, nanotech, especially when you're talking about a lot of the narratives that are put out there via science fiction and otherwise, and always have been. All right, and really do set the undertone, the subliminal undertone for what society believes, expects, desires, etc., on a mass level, and gets those ideas out there. Now, the case I wanted to start with today, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share, everybody, is AI created art isn't copyrightable, judge says in ruling that could give Hollywood studios pause. Now, this case is actually, I mean, I'm sure it's not one that you've heard anywhere else, okay? But I promise it's here. And Stephen Thaler, the inventor of the quote-unquote imagination machine. The imagination machine, right? And this is something Bushnell, the chief scientist over at NASA, was talking about well over a decade ago at the Blue Tech Forum, that he had basically built this system that dreamed. It pulses in dreams. And it was already creating products that were far superior to what human beings could do with buildings full of people, according to Bushnell. Now, Thaler has taken it a step further, and Thaler has shown that he believes that AI is sentient. I have this long-form interview that only has like 130 views from a couple months ago before the ruling came out yesterday. And the ruling matters. Okay, judge says in ruling that could give Hollywood studios pause. So basically it says it's not just art, it's anything, because human beings are an essential part of the patenting process. And Thaler was trying to have AI get the credit for some of his patents. And I say his patents because, at least in Thaler's case, in large form, he's overseeing the artificial intelligence. I don't know to what extent he's programming it. I'm sure that it's on a large scale level, but I'd also be shocked if this guy didn't have a team surrounding him. I think it's, what's the exact quote from Bushnell? We might actually have to pull up that clip. And he basically says, better toothpaste for Palmolive. I'm not sure if it's warheads for the Air Force, but it's something for the Air Force. And rightfully so, a judge has knocked this down. This is good. Because Thaler is also a big promoter of sentient AI. So it even goes beyond the idea of Kurzweil, who also leans towards sentience and consciousness now, and really has been easing you in incrementally with that idea since the age of spiritual machines, where he admits that these things don't have to be sentient, they don't really have to be conscious, but they will claim to be, and they will claim to be having all of these experiences that we have as human beings, and therefore we will eventually grant them the rights of human beings. That's really dangerous, okay? It's just, first of all, incremental steps. Time marches forward. It doesn't go backwards for anybody. Not you, not me. You can wish away. Boy, if I would have done it that way. You don't get that opportunity. It's, boy, if I do this tomorrow. That's it. That's all there is. And what you need to do with your past experiences is use them as a retrospective of what was positive, what was negative, what worked, what didn't, the eventual hindsight of 2020 of the repercussions of those actions. That's why we're always learning. There's always something new in this human experience, period. Okay? And believe me, I want to keep it human. I want to keep it human. So, by the way, we may play some of this in the second hour. This is that interview. Again, no one's paying attention to this stuff. This thing has 139 views. I know you can't see it because it's cut off there. 139 views. And then this is the actual court case. At least from two years ago is when it started. These things take forever, obviously. And this only has 1.3 thousand views. Everybody all masked up and gassed up. Masked up and gassed up. Okay? Big deal. Big deal. Okay? It's a subject that also brought me to narrative management. We're going to read some of that. And by the way, this is maybe taking Hollywood afoot because they want to copyright all this material. They want to own likenesses. And believe me, they're going to have lawyers that say, no, we can copyright this stuff. We have a signature from this artist. We're using a certain piece of software. It's their digital likeness. What's the difference between this and mapping it? Yada, 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 yada. Right? In fact, again, let's take a look at my thumbnail here. Every single thing there except for the Hollywood thing I put in the background is AI generated. I think that one took me 4 or 5 prompts, right? 4 or 5 prompts. I mean, is it great? No. Is it not bad? Yeah, it's all right. Worked for a thumbnail, especially with this subject matter. Stuff that does not get covered anywhere. Just doesn't. And let's read some of this. So first of all, this is good. I'm pretty happy about it. But I incrementalism. Where's it going to be in a year, in 2 years? Like, how long is this strike going to occur? This seems to be the future move in so many things, right? So we have to acknowledge that. That just has to be something that people realize. More than 100 days into the writer's strike, right? It's 100 days, and they haven't blinked. This could run a year. They got plenty of content just to push out there. Plenty of content. They're playing the long game. Fears have kept mounting over the possibility of studios deploying generative artificial intelligence to completely pen scripts. It's more than just the scripts. They want to get rid of directors. They want to have AI-based managers. But intellectual property law has long said that copyright are only granted to works created by humans. Humans. And that doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. Hopefully not. But what is soon? And how much will they push? A federal judge on Friday upheld a finding from the U.S. Copyright Office that a piece of art created by AI is not open to protection. The ruling was delivered in an order turning down Stephen Thaler's bid, challenging the government's position. Refusing to register works made by AI copyright law has never stretched so far. To protect works generally by new forms of technology operating absent any guiding human hand, U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell found. Now, the question is, since I'm putting in prompts, what does that mean? Does that mean that, is that something that's copyrightable or not? What about merged work, which is obviously, something that the AI does? In other words, obviously I could copyright, I would think, a photograph I took, and then I wanted to edit some birds out, but instead of using the clone stamp tool, et cetera, I used the AI tool by selecting them and saying replace with clouds. Can I copyright that? I would think so. There's some human hand in there. So then there's also going to be like these different scales. And those scales, again, will be utilized to incrementally push for what? Rights for AI. Okay? The opinion stressed human authorship is a bedrock requirement. Good. Needs to be. The push for protection of works created by AI has been spearheaded by Thaler, chief executive of neural network firm Imagination Engine. In 2018, he listed an AI system, the Creativity Machine. Remember, he had the Imagination Machine. I think that's where the name of the company comes out of. Okay, Imagination Engine. As the sole creator of an artwork called A Recent Entrance to Paradise. Should we pull that up? I don't know that they show that in the article. I don't recall it. I looked down through it. So let's look that up. Copy. Let's do a little shifting and a little back-a-book-a-boo. Let's see, A Recent Entrance to Paradise. So, and then we'll type in Thaler. All right, and that's the art piece. Can we see it? Okay, so this must be it. So we tried to copyright this. Interesting. And so that's very, very, very interesting. Because obviously that's not something, especially with the amount of stuff we've seen from AI, that's that impressive. I'm not that impressed by it. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I want you to thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. We're going to be talking about AI. We're going to be talking about hydrogels. We're going to talk about narrative control. We're going to be talking about X and Twitter. Censorship is heating up over at Twitter. We warned you. Freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, and much more after this word from our sponsor.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
All right, we are back. I did find that Bushnell clip, and there's so much in there that is so important because it really lays it out to where we're going for 10 years. Like 10 years later, and everything he talked about in this clip, and I think I've cut it down to less than 3 minutes, it is 100% in play. And you didn't elect Dennis Bushnell, and I didn't elect Dennis Bushnell, and Dennis Bushnell isn't just representing himself. He's representing the ideals pushed forward by those in control of the military-industrial complex. All right? And very much a transhumanist movement. That's it. And part of that movement, again, it is to give artificial intelligence, or what they deem artificial intelligence, rights, the idea of sentience and consciousness, so they can make you believe that another aspect of this, just to move, not only to move you out of other jobs, okay, and move you into more of a mode of control, and say the narrative that's being pushed has been checked by AI, and they know they're better, they get it, doesn't matter, humans program them, right? Big secret there, big secret. But they want to move you into the idea that your consciousness is the same thing, and that you will be able to upload it as you get more accustomed to virtual devices, what they call the metaverse now, and who knows what they'll call in the future. And that's why that's also partnered with the World Economic Forum, etc. It's very much real. It's very real. Okay? So let's keep reading this, and then we're going to play that Bushnell clip. The Copyright Office denied the application on the grounds that the nexus between the human mind and creative expression is a crucial element of protection. Thaler, who listed himself as the owner of the copyright under the work-for-hire doctrine, sued in a lawsuit contesting the denial in the office's human authorship requirement. He argued that AI should be acknowledged as an author where it otherwise meets authorship criteria. No, no, and no, Mr. Thaler. I should get Stephen Thaler on because he's probably very interesting. And who knows what nuggets he would let us know about on the show. Because this is a guy, again, very intelligent and obviously is admired and utilized by the military-industrial complex, where he's not a household name, and these are some of the most significant court cases of our era. Like, they just are. Well, everybody's talking about the stuff in the forefront and ChatGPT, and yeah, that's good. We talk about that too. This has been going on for a very, very long time. Okay? So let's do it. Let's bring up the bushy nil. We need to. And this is him talking about sustainability and productivity and how they're code words. And sustainability is a code word for your standard of living plummeting as they implement this stuff. And productivity is a code word for more automation. And essentially, the acceptance of transhumanism at the end of it. Okay? So let's give Bushnell his due right here.
In fact, prevention of collapse of the ecosystem has now become the overwhelming issue. Current food production is based on freshwater plants, i.e. glycophytes. We're running out of fresh water, as you know. The code word is sustainability.
So right here, let's stop it because we have to. Because constantly, even now, what are the drums that are beating? The drums that are beating is we need more sustainability and that human beings are bad. And we are effing up the planet all over the gosh darn place. Bad human. Bad. Bad human. Okay? So people scoffed at this idea when he's given this speech in 2011, 12. And they scoffed about it 10 years ago, before that. And they scoffed about it in the 90s. But during that time period, okay, the Club of Rome, the United Nations, the World Health Organization continually pushed the climate agenda. And some of them more subvertly, and now it's become more overtly, right? The World Health Organization, it's all over the place. So is equity, diversity, and every other thing that strips individuals of their rights. Okay, under the guise of equity, under the guise of benevolence, under the guise that if we collectively act, somehow we can save the planet. So even then, guys like Bushnell here, what are they talking about? They're talking about this idea of sustainability because we're not going to have enough water. And that's a big thing with NASA. Fresh water, not going to happen. We're running out of water. Water is one of the things that we don't talk enough about, that they're openly ready to commoditize more. Again, we've been trained to drink bottled water. We've been trained to know that now you don't want to drink the water out of our faucet. We've been trained to know that there are chemicals in the water that more and more people are acknowledging that turn the frickin' frogs a certain way. And if they're doing it to frog, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, they want rations. It's part of your social credit score. The green agenda is to cut off not only the power, but the water supply, the food supply, the whole 9 yards. Your standard of living is about to plummet. He's telling you sustainability is a code word. A code word is something that means something else to other people. And just comes out in the open and says it. Because he's with people that are going to invest in this next infrastructure that they're building. Hold on. I'm going to knock it back to the code word part again. Pay attention. We'll bring it all the way on back. Okay? Here we go.
In fact, prevention of collapse of the ecosystem has now become the overwhelming issue. Current food production is based on freshwater plants, i.e. glycophytes. We're running out of fresh water, as you know. The code word is sustainability. The crashing of the ecosystem is due to population growth and the way we're now living, our standard of living. The estimates vary between 30 and 50% of a planet that we're currently short to sustain the standard of living and the current population, much less the population growth. As the Asians and their billions come up, as they are at 9 to 11% growth rate to Western standards of living, we're going to be short 3 more planets, and they're not readily available. This will result in peak everything. This will result in standards of living plunging. So this is Malthus 101. These innate ecosystem restrictions and shortfalls will necessarily shift world econometrics from a growth mantra to one of sustainability, with possible population control instigated along the way that changes everything.
So before we fade into the productivity part, did you pay attention there? Did you hear it? He goes, why is it crashing? Because of our population growth and our standard of living. That's going to start plunging as the Asians and their billions come up. And they have come up. because this speech is over a decade old, and it's going to incorporate into Thaler in a moment. But I cannot stress enough how Malthusianism is openly discussed. And this is, again, the idea of the regimentation of all human beings. This is Malthus 101, he says. And again, who is going to instigate population control, okay, that changes everything? And this is in his own document. This is in his own shabango. Shabalaba-bango. You understand? You get it? You understand? Trying to get you to understand. It's all right here. And so AI and the idea that it's sentient and conscious and that we're going to merge with it, it's going to be the best thing since breakfast, is again part of that narrative. Productivity improvement for the automation end of it. You get it? Productivity improvement. That's the other code word, sustainability and productivity improvement.
In terms of employment, just as an example, we are in a jobless economic recovery. There's about 7 million jobs missing. Some of them were globalized and offshore, about a third. The rest of them are gone. The code word is productivity improvement, which is a code word for ever better automation and robotization. If you look at the way the robots are going, human-level machine intelligence from the IBM Blue Brain Project is now about 10 to 15 years out.
So now we're in the age of biomimetics because we are 10 to 15 years out. And I think he's right about to mention Thaler and his imagination machine. And now we got Thaler in court trying to get what? Copyright for AI, pushing it a step further that AI, zeros and ones, binary, okay, binary code can become sentient, essentially.
Via biomimetics, where they've nanosectioned the neocortex and they're replicating in silicon, okay? And they're having great success at all of this. So this is not soft computing, this is via biomimetics. We have looked 20, 30 years out with the way robotics and automation and machine intelligence is going at what jobs the machines cannot do. The answer is none. We thought we need human touch labor in nursing homes for a while, but the Japanese 2 years ago put robots in nursing homes. The patients like them much better than the humans. The machines are creating wealth within the strictures of the ecosystem capability. The machines are reducing costs, okay, producing wealth, but the humans increasingly can't compete.
No, the humans increasingly can't compete, and we're in a level where people don't realize we're far along this, far along. In fact, I'm going to bring up, if I can find it, and I think we can, the Future Strategic Warfare document that we constantly go to, and we need to constantly go to, because it also, I believe, has Thaler's imagination machine in it in the diagram. So much of what he says in that speech is also laid out in a document that it was put out a decade before that. So let's find that. And let's see. We got the Rothblatt. I forgot where I put it all in. I probably put it in my downloads. We do it live. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share, everybody. So let's see if it actually happened. And it did. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice when things work? By the way, still having huge tech issues with all this good stuff. In fact, I don't necessarily like the way that this is set up. I don't want to take any surveys, guys. So let's do that. And it's still in my way. Sometimes, man, I don't know if this is a Windows issue or what, but it's certainly a sucky issue. So let's see. Thaler didn't come up. Imagination. Yes, here it is. See, I love it when I can still remember stuff. The imagination engine, a.k.a. creativity machine, a.k.a. creative agent. Current AI's best bet, not a rule-based expert system. Generates new ideas, concepts via starving A trained neural net. Okay, a trained neural net. Lovely. Okay. Of meaningful inputs, forcing it to dream. I don't know what cavitate means. Create new concepts, etc. An attendant neural net used to capture, record, evaluate, and report on these quote-unquote writings. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you, my employees and I are bringing you a limited edition MyPillow. The Giza Elegance MyPillow is made with my patented adjustable fill, the most amazing cotton, and a 2-inch pipe gusset. It has 4 custom loft levels, machine washable and dryable, and you get my 60-day money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your limited edition 20th anniversary MyPillow queen size. Retails for $69.98, now only $19.98. That's right, get a queen size MyPillow for only $19.98.
From all of us here at MyPillow, thanks America!
All right, we are back. It is Reality Rants. I want to remind people the second hour is over at RVMRumble.com. That's RVMRumble.com. Time flies. We're already 2 segments through the first hour. And if you want to support the broadcast, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. You get 2 special interviews before everybody else. One of those interviews with Drew Berquist, the other Derek Nance. They should be up now. I know that the Berquist one is redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Try it for $1 for a week, and then it is $10 a month after that, or lock it in for the year. Really support the broadcast, and $100. Save yourself $20 if you like this information. Don't like this information, but realize I'm like the only guy talking about it. That's all. So now we're going to move to Cass Sunstein. How do we get to Cass Sunstein? Well, I had typed in Thaler's name in a search engine, and some other Thaler that works with Cass Sunstein, it came up. And I'm like thinking to myself, you know what? Now's the time to really show people how this whole narrative control thing has been going on for a very, very long time. And, if you check it out, here it is, Guiding Forces. We're going to start here. And this is going to couple with this 2017 article, how, the liberal scholar of conspiracy theories became the subject of a right-wing conspiracy theory. And this guy is kind of the architect of the online government or subsidized pseudo-government-run bot agencies, the ones that combat disinformation. This is old, okay? And I literally lived through this. I lived through it. Okay, so Guiding Forces, and it's funny, they try to tell you that it's going to be libertarian. Well, I want to get to that. Let's see, there it is right there. Libertarian. This all sounds libertarian. They're not, so they want to nudge policy ideas under the Barack star. All right, but they're acting like they're libertarian. See, this is the Thaler guy I was telling you about. If this all sounds paternalistic, that's because it is. See, I keep telling people, these people think they're my daddy or my mammy. They ain't. They treat us like children. They literally write white papers and go on tours, okay, letting you know they have a disdain for the general populace and they need to nudge them in a paternalistic manner. And this is, it is an oxymoronic label. This is a New York Times piece, by the way. This is when, they still promote the agenda. 100% still promoting this guy. Libertarian paternalism. There's no such thing. Okay? This is like a savage way to give you the idea that you have choice while pushing you into narratives and, eviscerating your standard of living. All right? So like, for instance, when they want to nudge you They tell you they want to let you make deals. Let's see, Wave. It's in the medical industry. Maybe I just need to go down a little bit more. So basically, in this, they here it is right here. And the authors occasionally strike a false note. Listen to this. Their recommendation to allow patients to sign away the right to sue doctors for malpractice, for example, presumably in return for lower medical bills, doesn't resemble the argumentation elsewhere in the book. Think about that. They're advocating for a standard where doctors and presumably pharmaceutical companies that create medications would not be able, first of all, as far as the law goes, especially when you get into the idea of medical malpractice, it's very hard to put somebody in prison. It's usually a civil suit. I mean, you have to prove intentional malice. And even when you do that with these big pharma companies, they still just pay out. Nobody goes to jail. They want to eliminate the paying out part. That's how cool and awesome Cass Sunstein is. All right? And this guy still got influence to this day. He codified into law. It's completely anti-constitutional. It's quite illegal in my opinion. But he codified. Again, we live in the inversion of reality, where these people, want to openly tell you how they're abusing the system, and they've changed it. They've altered the deal. Pray they don't alter it any further. Vader? But they do. They continue to alter again and again and again. This is the example of incrementalism I was talking about. So 2008, Sunstein's really worried about all these 9/11 conspiracy theories too. Okay, he's got to be our pappy and our mammy. And then the New Yorker is going to come to his aid. And let me just read the first paragraph here, because this is really, it just lays it out. In 2010, Marcus Trent, a novelist and far-left activist from Vermont, found an online version of a paper by Cass Sunstein. He's a far left. See, they'll come after the far left, the far right. They'll come after anybody they don't like. And it'll be far this or extremist that. All right, a professor at Harvard Law School and the most frequently cited legal scholar in the world. The paper, called Conspiracy Theories, was first published in 2008 in a small academic journal called the Journal of Political Philosophy. In it, Sunstein and his Harvard colleague, Adrian Vermeule, attempted to explain how conspiracy theories spread, especially online. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. People are challenging the narrative. They need to implement their great narrative. And again, this is 2008. Fast forward to 2018, the middle of the Trump presidency. And that's when you start seeing even more censorship rolling out and becoming the norm. And where are we at today? Bueller? Anybody? At one point, okay, they made a radical proposal. No, they didn't make a radical proposal. They told you what they were about to do or were already doing. This is Harvard. This is a Central Intelligence Agency hotbed. An intelligence community hotbed. That's it. Klaus Nutzschwab, Kissinger, and countless others can be traced back to Harvard. Okay? Ready? Our main policy claim here is that the government should engage in cognitive infiltration of the groups that produce conspiracy theories. All right? So in other words, controlled opposition. That's one. The author's primary example of conspiracy theory was the belief that 9/11 was a quote-unquote inside job. They defined cognitive infiltration as a program whereby government agents or their allies, so not just government agents, acting either virtually or in real space, and either openly or anonymously, will undermine the crippled epistemology of believers by planting doubts about the theories and stylized facts that circulate within such groups. Now, you tell me that doesn't sound exactly like signature reduction. Let's compare that paragraph. Okay. Oh, come on. I don't even have it here. That's okay. Inside America's Secret. I go back to this all the time because what? It's relevant. It's right here. Their undercover army. The first paragraph is exactly what he says. And that's in 2008. This is published in 2021. It says it's been around for over a decade. You see the time correlation of this. So now, again, the largest undercover force the world has ever known is the one created by the Pentagon over the past decade. Some 60,000 people now belong to this secret army, many working under masked identities and in low profile. All part of the broad program called signature reduction. The force, more than 10 times the size of the clandestine elements of the CIA, carries out domestic and foreign assignments, both in military uniform and under civilian cover, in real life and online, just like Cass Sunstein said, sometimes hiding in private businesses and consultancies, some of them household name companies. So you get your nice little tasty, stylized facts. Sorry, here we go right here. Stylized facts, right? Within such groups. And you get everything. Controlled opposition. You get the bot armies. All right? Nowhere in the final version of the paper did Susstein and Vernal state the obvious fact that a government ban on conspiracy theories would be unconstitutional and possibly dangerous. Yeah, it is inconsistent with the principles of freedom of expression. You understand? Even then, okay, you understand that the New York Times 15 years ago was like, whoa, this is too far. But here he is right here in 2008. The spread of false information causes danger, says Susstein. Danger! This is at Harvard Law, and they love this guy. This is the guy. All right? Biased assimilation. Hey, this is still on their website from 15 years ago. 15 years ago. Building upon the first mechanism, Sunstein went on to describe the second, what he called informational cascades, the process of which awareness of the aggregate opinions and beliefs of others can largely control an individual's taste and belief formation. Through this process, he explained, early adopters can have an undue influence over the public's general acceptance or rejection of a statement of fact. He described a recent experiment in which 9 different websites offered free downloads of songs by unknown bands. On 8 of the 9 websites, however, users were able to see the download preferences of the previous users. In the worlds created, those. So in other words, they went with what they were told. No kidding. And then, I want to continue right here. This is on Harvard University's In Focus page right now. Misinformation and disinformation aren't new. Okay, see how they're crossing stuff out? But digital and social media are allowing misleading, false, and harmful content to spread at a rate that is endangering society. All of this is in your face telling you that the government, those in charge, and the media have a monopoly on lies. They're allowed to lie. You're not allowed to get things wrong or challenge their lies. That's all that means. You understand? Everything above just means that now, not only in many cases, in the majority of cases, does the government have a monopoly on force, because they got stuff we don't. They have the monopoly on force. Now they have the monopoly on what? Words and information and narratives. And if you challenge that monopoly, they're coming for you. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Come on, guys. We can't even get 100 thumbs up. We got 15 more minutes left in the first hour. We got to take a break. I do want to remind people the second hour is carried over at RVMRumble.com. We're going to be heading out to Vegas to speak at the Reawaken America Tour this week. Buckle up for that one. I promise a great presentation. But before that, how about another word from our sponsor?
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. Act swiftly, 833-287-2465.
And we are back. It is Reality Rants. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Go check out the Rumble channels, or all the links are down below to support the broadcast. I want to talk bio-nanotech, hydrogels, reality in a moment. But before I go there, and we're going to talk about Trump and him actually using the term injustice department, which we use a lot here. You look at this, and these are the type of headlines that you're going to see all over the place. You know, I mean, think about what we just talked about in narrative management. I don't know who Andrew Neil is. No clue. White House 2024 race heats up. This is the Daily Mail. Trump could soon be a convict. Biden is a walking disaster. No kidding. So tempted by RFK Jr. in the 2024. Don't be! He's a total conspiracy theory nut job. And may just be the most dangerous man in America. RFK Jr. is the most dangerous man in America. Get ready, because the narratives are going to come hard. They're going to come fast. You're going to see them all over the place. And they're going to try to codify into law methods of putting people in prison for speech, which is essentially whether you like Donnie T, whether you love Donnie T, hate Donnie T, got the TDS, don't particularly care for him, begrudgingly voted for him, doesn't matter. That's what they're doing to an ex-president right now. Right now. So if you think it can't happen to you, you are in la-la land. Like mucho la-la land. So, I mean, just another example of this. Programmable DNA hydrogels for advanced cell culture and personalized medicine. Oh, I thought this was all science fiction. None of this is real. These models I'm looking at, I must have made myself. Maybe they're AI generated. Maybe they're hallucinations by the AI. But when you talked about this a few years ago in a certain manner, all of a sudden you were a kook. You were a conspiracy theory guy. Wait till you see what they're projecting the hydrogel market to be worth in less than 10 years. You know, the hydrogels that were talked about by DARPA, who develops a lot of this stuff, by the way. It's so weird that our Defense Advanced Research Project Agency is developing this stuff in conjunction with pharma companies. Totally nothing to see here. In vitro culture of biological cells plays an important role in advancing biological research. However, currently available cell culture materials have significant drawbacks. Many of them are derived from animal sources, leading to poor reproducibility and making it difficult to fine-tune their mechanical properties. Therefore, there is an urgent need for new approaches to create soft and biocompatible materials with predictable properties. The team of Dr. Elijah Craig and Leibniz Institute of Polymer Research, Dresden, has developed a dynamic DNA cross-linked matrix, Dynamatrix, by combining classical synthetic polymers with programmable DNA cross-linkers. DNA's highly specific and predictable binding gives researchers unparalleled control over key mechanical properties of the material. All right, so how much is it going to be worth? Okay, it's a booming market of 3D hydrogels worldwide from 2023 to 2030. Again, all of these companies, all very real. I mean, you look at Cosmo Bio, Thermo Fisher, Parentis, Tekken Trading. They're all involved in this. Just going down the line, down the line, down the line, going down. I mean, they don't exist. You're a kook for talking about them, Jason. They're certainly not worth billions of dollars. The market could hit $22.8 billion in under a decade if these people get their way. There it is right there. And again, this is something that if you were discussing hydrogel technology, programmable DNA, any of that, you're a kooky guy. You're Mr. Kooky, right? Just like if you dared to question, I don't know, SSRI drugs. And now, I shared this story on my Twitter, and I didn't realize how many people were out there talking about the sexual side effects of the SSRIs. Now, I know they've been talked, again, if you listen to the little ditty that they always put out, you listen to the ditty, it's always really fast-paced. They do talk about sexual issues, but these people are saying, years later, they're not even the same person anymore. They're not even the same, at all. And so many people, they're like, I can't have a normal sexual relationship. I can't do this. I can't do that. Aside from the fact that they may cause suicidal and homicidal thoughts and actions. Just aside from that. Look at all these people. And again, I got hit up hard on my Twitter. 15 years ago, I was chemically castrated. No one cares. That's a female. So yeah, just keep it up on these. These drugs are awesome. They're the best. And they've sold us on these being safe and effective for how long? A man stripped of his libido by a condition caused by taking an SSRI pill says he feels as though he's been chemically castrated. The man, who gave his name as Hamish, is adapting to living with post-SSRI sexual dysfunction after taking an anti-anxiety medication in May. So not even really long term. The 33-year-old from London says he no longer has a sex drive and suffers suicidal thoughts and brain fog. Awesome. They're the best. But concerned this could happen to other people, Hamish is speaking out in a bid to stop others from having similar experiences. He told the DailyMail.com PSSD has transformed him into a heterosexual living in an asexual body. He only had taken the anti-anxiety medication once time before he was hit with a wave of panic attacks. Worried about the bizarre reaction, he stopped immediately. 2 weeks later, he noticed his genitals felt numb. Huh. But you know what? I'm sure that anybody that talks about an agenda of population control, of sterilization, of chemical castration, they're nutty, they're kooky. It's just a bunch of billionaires and their minions saying how we need less people on the planet. right? And you know, you're a kook if you notice what they say in these commercials. That they got happy smile. Oh, look, I got my life back, people. And they're mentioning the most heinous of crimes. You're kooky, Jason. Come on. Give me a break. Just come on. I used to be hypersexual. I've lost my complete libido. I feel like I've been chemically castrated. It causes me a lot of mental issues, not just sexual. You think? Hamish says it's caused him to have suicidal thoughts and become depressed. I had never had that before. Why would you take these drugs? I get it. You're in a building. All these people are taking this person's advice. They're in an outfit. They speak with authority. They're writing things down. No. It's a big no. We need to question the medical establishment more. Do you understand? Remember, in Germany, they had a nice little office of hygiene. Hygiene. All right? So don't think that the medical establishment, especially when there's money to be made and money to be had, hasn't been deeply compromised. Deeply. Come on. As he tries to cope with the effect it's having on his love life, he says it's even harder with brain fog and being unable to sleep. Since there's no cure, it's as though we hang on to some sort of hope that it's going to get better. However, some people have not seen improvements for decades. Even if there is a recovery, it may not be full. Going to the toilet gets me upset as I'm reminded that my genital numbness is still there. I want to puke right now. Ugh. Prescribed antidepressants can be transformational for some people, but are linked to side effects in both sexes. Oh, it can be transformational, all right. Since becoming widespread in the 1980s, scripts for the mood-boosting drugs have skyrocketed, with a record nearly 1 in 5 adults taking them in 2020, compared to around 1 in 50 at the turn of the century. When they say the turn of the century, they mean 2000. They mean 20 years ago. Okay? Think about that. 1 in 5 from 1 in 50. 1 in 50 to 1 in 5. That's a 10 times increase in 20 years. Yeah, did we talk about incrementalism? Yeah. Yeah, where's it going to be in another 20? Where's it going to be in another 20 if they have their way? While sexual dysfunction is experienced by 73% of antidepressant users, for some people, this doesn't go away even after they stop taking the pills. Yeah, we're going to give you this drug. It's going to make you feel great. By the way, about 3/4 of people have some kind of sexual dysfunction after the fact. Some of it seems to be permanent. No big deal. No biggie. Ruben Dwight, who co-founded support platform PSSD Network, told DailyMail.com one of the biggest issues is the lack of informed consent. Even PSSD is more or less uncommon. People are not informed about it, he said. You think? I got to admit, I did not realize it was this bad. I had no idea. Patients often say they would have never taken the medication if they were informed this was a possible risk, even if the risk was low. No kidding. He said medication labels don't properly explain side effects, and that if people knew there was a chance of suffering as PSSD patients do, they would think twice. They think more than twice. They think more than twice. So here's the deal. We are coming to an end on the first hour. I'm going to play one more commercial. We're going to come back briefly here on YouTube and let you know where you can watch it. Hint, RVMRumble.com. Let's get 100+ thumbs up, and we'll be back after a word from our sponsor. And yes, I actually use IPVanish.
We love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything you do. Take control of your online privacy with IPVanish. People with malicious intent are everywhere, watching you. Criminals can hack your Wi-Fi, while broadband providers and advertisers monitor your data. With IPVanish on your device, your internet activity is encrypted. No one can see what you're doing. Your location, your connection, completely hidden. Protect your internet privacy today with IPVanish.
All right, folks, head on over to rvmrumble.com for the second hour. It's going to be jam-packed. We're going to be talking the Muskernauts, X, how they now want you to take a selfie for identification. That's coming. How they're deleting things from, I believe, 2014 and prior. We're going to talk about that. I might got the date wrong, but it's 2014, 2013. We're going to talk about a lot of freedom of speech versus freedom of reach. We're going to be talking Donnie T. I got a couple clips. I'm also going to mention Derek Brose, who was running for mayor in Houston, but they basically pulled the plug on that, and Brose is somebody I really appreciate. So without further ado, YouTube, I'm sorry, but a